everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on episode 5 of season 2 of Heaven Official's Blessing. So, I have been informed on the Discord that the good news is we have this episode. The bad news is it's gonna go on a 2-week hiatus because whatever. Right? I'm like, wait a minute, what? So apparently, this is the last episode for 2 weeks. I don't know if there's some kind of Chinese holiday. I don't know if the production's just like, we need some more time. Don't know, or if they scheduled this, don't know. I would like to assume it probably has something to do with like some kind of special that's going on. Who knows what's going on? Like Japan has Golden Week. I don't know if there's a Chinese equivalent to that. But for whatever reason, after, or maybe they have some kind of Thanksgiving specials. I doubt that, but whatever the case may be, after this week, there's going to be a 2-week hiatus before we have the next episode come out. So on Patreon, the very next episode, the show is going to resume December 6th. So the next episode is going to be December 11th, which is like, man, that seems like such a long time away. But it's only 2 weeks. It won't be crazy, you know. Not going to be crazy, but yeah, December 11th on Patreon will be the next episode, and then it will be followed up on YouTube on December 18th. So we'll return right around Christmas time. It'll be great. But yes, so last episode was a lot of fun. Sheilin and the Windmaster were having shenanigans, just being the bestest of friends, and they managed to make it through Hua Cheng's Choose Your Own Adventure to find the Earthmaster. The Earthmaster, whom we've met at Banquet! Surprise! And now they're a man, a beautiful man with beautiful black locks. I was sharing pictures on Twitter. I'm like, what a handsome... They animate him really well. He looks really great here. But yeah, met the Earthmaster, who is the Windmaster's bestie, besides Sheilin. And now they're trying to get out, but Sheilin rolls the dice and just where do they land? Why? Right into Hua Cheng's lap. Who would have thunk? So yeah, imagine that. But yes, so it's going to suck having a 2-week hiatus, but at least I've got the novel to keep me going, so that's going to be fun, and maybe by the time the spoiler corner will have more to talk about by the time the Dongwa comes back, so it's fine. I think it's okay. It's going to suck having 2 weeks off, but as long as they come back with the next episode, and they've already planned on coming back, the fact that they're planning on coming back in 2 weeks makes me think it's some kind of holiday thing, because if it was like a production issue, 2 weeks seems not a lot of time to make a difference, you know? So we'll see, but in any case, I'm really excited for this episode. I don't know exactly what all we're going to cover, and that's what makes it exciting. So real quick, I want to give a shout out over to Patreon, over to our philanthropy tier, to these wonderful people who support me each month. If you're not able to support me on Patreon, that's fine. You're supporting me on here. That's great. I appreciate it. But those of you that do get a chance to support me on Patreon, I am so grateful and thankful for all of your support. Talking with y'all in the Discord, talking with y'all in the comments. It's a lot of fun. So these individuals deserve a special shout out because they go above and beyond each month to get a shout out in my videos and to break ties if we have them. So I want to give a shout out to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Anna, to Ash Got Snow Bitches, to Be Happy, to Dana, to Destiny Marie, to Edgar, to Eric, to Kiri, to Loisiji, to Matthew Palfinier, to Nameless Monster, to Saku, to Shimoyama, to Sunspots, to Trails, to Translucent Men, to Tyrone, and to Zakiel. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, excited to see what happens. I don't know what all we're getting, but I poured myself some coffee. I'm ready to go. Hopefully my dogs will be okay. They probably won't. But we'll find out, right? So we are going to start Heaven Official's Blessing Season 2, Episode 5, and that's Huckleberry putting his toy down in the cabinet beside me. But we're going to start that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Well, we got a lot accomplished in this episode, and it was still far too short. I am thoroughly convinced that they just made this episode 22 minutes long, like 19 minutes once you account the OP and Edie, just because they wanted to leave us on a cliffhanger about Sheilin admitting that they were the Imperial Preceptor, or in the novel they're called the Goshi, of the kingdom that Lan Chanchu is from, apparently. So, how about that, huh? How about that? Yeah, And they're going to leave us on a 2-week hiatus after learning that truth. Are you kidding me? I have a lot of spoilers that I want to talk about, but we'll start out with the regular discussion in this episode. Oh my gosh, what a case of miscommunication. Am I right? I feel for Sheilin, because Sheilin just lands in front of Hua Cheng, and Hua Cheng's little eyebrow raise like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Gege? And Sheilin's like, ah! Like, hey, sorry, was sneaking around your manor, happened to find my friend's friend, now we're trying to get out. Sorry about that. And the thing about it is, Hua Cheng's not even, like, mad. He's like Ron Burgundy and Anchorman. He's like, I'm not even mad. That's amazing. He's not really that mad. He's just like, I want you to explain yourself. Can you tell me what's going on? And Sheilin, to his credit, Sheilin tries to explain, being like, look, I found the friend of my friend, and we need to go. And Hua Cheng does not seem very concerned about the Earthmaster. Hua Cheng is like, yeah, so who are they? What do they matter? And Sheilin's like, but... And honestly, I think if Sheilin had been able to talk to Hua Cheng just outright and explain the situation, I think Hua Cheng would have let them go. Because, I mean, at this point, we have seen time and time again that Hua Cheng is not really he doesn't do anything to harm Sheilin. I think Sheilin could get away with anything, and Hua Cheng would be like, sure, go right ahead. So if Sheilin had the opportunity to explain himself and be like, hey, can we go? Then Hua Cheng would probably be like, sure. Although Hua Cheng does say, he's like, there's some things you don't need to be involved in, and this seems to be one. So there's something going on behind the scenes, and Sheilin's like, I just want to save my friend's friend, and Hua Cheng's like, this is a little bit over your head. You're in a little too deep. You need to back off and let us take care of things that are ours to take care of. But again, I think if Sheilin had been allowed to have his way, then things would have been fine. But as it stands, it just did not work out. Now, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all a little bit about this one scene where Sheilin grabs Hua Cheng. If you're going to read the novel, then basically in the novel, we've seen the episode, so it's not really a spoiler at this point, but basically in the novel, Sheilin just shoves him aside. Sheilin's like, get out of the way! And he just, like, moves him, and Hua Cheng is just like, what the fudge? Like, he's kind of thrown off because Sheilin grabs him and throws him to the side because he doesn't want the Wind Master and the Earth Master to fall on top of him. That's in the novel. That's fine. In this, Sheilin grabs Hua Cheng, and they, like, grabs him from his, like, throne. They spin through the air in this Disney-like twist. Like, they just spin in the air like a house of flying daggers, and Sheilin lands, and Hua Cheng, like, skids away across the floor, and they separate from each other. Also, Sheilin's hair is glorious. It's just, like, waves. It's so beautiful, right as the Wind Master lands. And meanwhile, Hua Cheng is just like, oh, yeah, he lands over there and is like, I love that the robe is carefully placed over Hua Cheng's crotch, so you cannot see the possible effect that flying through the air with Sheilin has had on him. Don't worry, his sword will be the representation. It'll be fine. But he just kind of looks at Sheilin like, hi, you want to do that again? He also just kind of looks at Sheilin like, what's going on? Tell me what's up, please and thank you. What I was going to say is that in the manhwa, if you check Star Ember's manhwa, it's like there's different levels. This was very theatrical and like kind of flirty. The novel's just very much Sheilin like panic mode, get out of the way. In the freaking manhwa, when they come down from the ground, Sheilin lands on Hua Cheng's lap and is straddling him. Star Ember holds nothing back. Star Ember's like, nah, he straddled him. It's fine. And so I'm sure there was a lot of people watching this that was like, we want that. And I'm like, well, we're doing good with the censors. Let's just be happy with what we got. But that's all I'm going to spoil from the novel manhwa because it's just like 3 different sets of what's going on. But yeah, Long Ying's like, I don't even know what's happening. And then we get the OP. And Hua Cheng's like, could you talk about this and do something? And I like that Sheilin's like, I can explain. And Hua Cheng in the most sexy voice possible is like, I'm listening. I was like, because at that point, and that says something because Hua Cheng's like, oh, there's no need for explanations and, fight. Hua Cheng's like, no, tell me. I'm listening. Let's hear it. Let's hear it out. Hua Cheng wants to know what Sheilin has to say. And then, of course, the Wind Master has to get involved. And the Windmaster's like, hey, what I love about the Windmaster is that they are so kind and they're such a good friend. They want to like defend Sheilin. The thing of it is, I don't know if any of you have that friend, or maybe you are that friend, but I feel like we either are or have that one friend that is super like defensive for us and is like our armor, but they like take it a little extreme sometimes, like not in a bad way, but the Windmaster's like, don't you be talking to him, don't you even know what you doing holding my friend in your dungeon, like I feel like the Windmaster would be like, let's take this outside, and Hua Cheng's like, I don't want to mess with you. I love the Windmaster so much. They're great. They're an amazing character in this series. So Hua Cheng says that the Earthmaster's been working for him all this time, apparently, or for the last 10 years. The Earthmaster's been working for him, and reveals that when Hua Cheng does, that he noticed the Earthmaster at Banyu and was like, that tipped me off that the Earthmaster was working for, not doing what they were supposed to do. And it's like, oh, so Sheilin's like, oh, okay, that's why Hua Cheng was mad. Hua Cheng had hired the Earthmaster as a subordinate to be his messenger for whatever reason. And when Hua Cheng saw the Earthmaster at Banyu Pass, was like, you're not supposed to be here. Why are you here with the Windmaster? What's going on? And the Earthmaster's like, yoinks, yikes. And so apparently, Hua Cheng, it seems, would have them in the dungeon to try to figure out, why were you doing something you weren't supposed to be? Why are you working with somebody else that you're not supposed to be working with? So yeah, fun times. And Sheilin seems very accepting of this. Sheilin's like, that makes perfect sense. But of course the Windmaster's like, no, I don't want to, this is not fair. Like, how dare you? And I like that as Sheilin is like thinking about this, Sheilin's like, well, it seems that San Long left without a word back there, but then that's because he was anxious to go back and settle the score with him. The heavenly official in the heavenly courts doesn't do his job properly. The subtitles of this episode were a little wonky. It was like, Instead, he came to the ghost realm undercover for decades. So yeah, the Earthmaster has some shady stuff going on. They're working for Hua Cheng. Hua Cheng's happy. I just love during that scene, Hua Cheng is just sitting there stroking Iming. Like, just has his sword out in full. Like, he is, like, comparing dicks. And he's like, you want to mess with this? I got the biggest one here. If you've read Modao Zushi or you've read this novel, you know that MXTX can have a very dirty mind. And what I love about this series is it just seems so tame and it seems so fun-spirited in comparison. And then you get to this part where you're just literally watching Hua Cheng like stroke his sword and you're like, no, we're good. It's wonderful. And it's such a subtle innuendo, you know? And Sheilin takes all the blame. He's like, oh my gosh, we're dabbling in something that's definitely not our business. And so to Sheilin, they're like, okay, well, this is why the Earthmaster sent up that flare, because they freaked out, because they were like, oh crap, my boss caught me at a party I wasn't supposed to be at. Come help me, SOS. And Sheilin's like, oh yeah, we really, this may not be our business. Ugh. Even though the Earthmaster is supposed to be a heavenly official, why are they being a messenger for Hua Cheng? But I like that Sheilin's like, you're right, we should probably back away from all this and not mess with it anymore. But then he says, I hope you can show some leniency today. And Hua Cheng just looks at him, and the moment that he puts the sword up, I think that was the answer. The moment that he puts the sword up, he does say, Your Highness, there's some things you shouldn't get involved in. Right? Like, you should leave him here. Let me finish my interrogation. But at the same time, he puts the sword away. Like him showing off at Ming there is just being like, look, I could take y'all out at any time. You want to fight? Do you? Do you? And Sheilin's like, let's not. And he's like, okay, but this is not your business. I like the fact that we visually see Hua Cheng is not planning on fighting Sheilin. That's not his goal. But then, of course, the Windmaster is like, forget this! The Windmaster is very impetuous, and I love them. They're one of my favorite side characters in this whole story, but the Windmaster is very impetuous, and they kind of are a I mean, they're a social butterfly. They're very extroverted. They're very kind. But one of their flaws, aside from being kind of flighty, which goes with the motif, is that they don't quite think things through all the way before they act. Sometimes they act without thinking entirely through the situation, and they just creates this big gust of wind to the armory. And I like that Hua Cheng is like, are you freaking serious? I spent months putting this together for Gege. Why are you destroying all my swords? He's just like, what? Please stop. And then I do love that Hua Cheng gets the golden fan with the freaking butterfly on it. And then it shoots little like golden foil daggers. Like, what the fudge? Love it. And I just love this like fan battle between the Windmaster as well as Hua Cheng. Meanwhile, Sheilian's using Rui to just like block all the things. And so the Windmaster's like, well, we can't stop now. We got to get out of here. And that's when our favorite himbo, he shows up. I do love his like cloud Final Fantasy VII style sword. I love it. I love the fact that it's magnetic. It attracts and like melds metals into itself. That's really freaking cool. I love the design. I love the golden kind of gilded look to it, which makes sense now because we have the whole Yongin idea that Yongin and his like family had like this golden aesthetic to them, right? Bless his heart though. Lan Chu, like the Windmaster is impetuous, sure. Impetuous and does not always kind of like wait to hear things out and can kind of act on impulse. But at the end of the day, I think the Windmaster does have some logic to them. Lan Chu is like, he is that archetype of the stereotypical, like, runs right and about. He is the Leroy Jenkins of Heaven Official's Blessing. The Windmaster and Sheilin are like, okay, we've got this all planned out. We've got this worked out. We're just going to get the Earthmaster. We're going to leave Hua Cheng. He's not going to fight us. All we have to do is talk a little bit more and maybe he'll let us go. And then Lan Chu's like, Leroy Jenkins. And they're like, oh shit, no, we're screwed. That's basically how it goes down in this episode, right? I also love that Hua Cheng just like lifts him up and like blasts his thing in half. Hua Cheng not being threatened at all. Not even worried. Not even worried about Lan Chu. Like, are you serious, kid? For reals? And then Sheilin, who's like a little sword geek, is like, oh my gosh, that sword's so amazing. You know? Now, what I love is, oh my God, never thought in a million years I would hear like, or see, gonna pause this screenshot forever, seeing Hua Cheng laughing. Like, to hear him laughing and everything, and just being like, oh, the esteemed heavenly officials of the heavenly realm are really desperate. Unwilling to let you go of even a piece of gold. There's so much shade throwing that where Hua Cheng's like, oh, look at the heavenly officials, greedy as ever. Like, even though that's Lan Chu's like ability in his sword, Hua Cheng wastes no time just like throwing the insults. Like, he hates the heavenly realm, you can tell. And he picks up a Ming, and Ming's like, I'm ready. I'm so ready. And Sheilin's like, oh no. Sheilin's like, if Hua Cheng faces Lan Chu's going to die. Like, he is not going to withstand this attack. And of course, the Windmaster can't do anything because they have the Earthmaster on their back. And so Sheilin's like, I've got to go and stop this attack. And he basically tried to stop it. And that's basically erupted in there, and it started a small fire, right? Sheilin started the small fire as a distraction, grabbed Long Ying, grabbed the Windmaster, and was like, grabbed Lan Chu, who is like, suddenly realized the attack and like goes immediately zombie-like. And he's like, Windmaster, let the wind rise and carry us up. And the Windmaster did that, but the problem is, when he burst through the roof, they got out, and the Windmaster, like, suddenly it was like the fire just spread. And that look that Hua Cheng gives, where he's like, I don't want you to go with them. He's like, he wanted him to stay here. That look, right? And the Windmaster's like, oh no! And the thing about it is, the Windmaster's like, oh, he's catching up. He wasn't even moving! Windmaster! He wasn't even moving. He was just standing there in Paradise Manor. The Windmaster's like, oh God, he's coming after us. I'm like, he wasn't even moving. And he just spread the flames anyway. And it just catches Paradise Manor on fire. Now, Paradise Manor, as we know from Hua Cheng, he doesn't consider a home because it's just little old him and all his ghost minions. So he's probably not mad about Paradise Manor burning down. Like, the Windmaster, as soon as the Windmaster realizes immediately what they did, they're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to let it happen. I'm sure, you know, if you need help paying it back, I'll give you all the money. And Sheilin's like, it's not about the money. He's like, we burnt down his home, his house. And I'm like, Sheilin, were you just listening to him 5 seconds ago? He said it was just a home. I'm sure he's more concerned about you than he is about whatever this Paradise Manor is. He could just build a new one. But it's just like the miscommunication of these two bakas that are like, oh no, but you. It's like, if you guys just talk it out, we can sort this out. We can make this work. But that's not what happened. And Sheilin's little sad face where he's like, And Sheilin, like, gripped a hold of the Windmaster really hard. Like, his grip was impeccable. But yeah, all the people in Paradise Manor just running away. And then Hua Cheng just standing there in the flames. And Sheilin's like, I just wanted a distraction. It's like, ugh. And the Windmaster's like, well, you can blame it on me. And then he touches, when he touched Sheilin's shoulder, what I got a flashback of was like, have you ever watched Sailor Moon? In the very first season of Sailor Moon, Tuxedo Mask gets injured and he's trying to hide it. And Serena, who's Sailor Moon, comes up and she's like, slaps him on the back. She's like, oh, come on, old pal. And then looks down at her hand and there's blood. And she's like, oh, it's like one of my favorite moments as a kid. It's like, it got me into the drama. And so I feel like that was the exact moment of the Windmaster being like, but your hand's hurt. And Sheilin's like, it's fine. I do hate that Sheilin, like, you see him get sad. And what I hate about it is that Sheilin doesn't care about he himself getting hurt, right? And it shows him blocking Launch on Chu's attack and then hitting Ming. And Ming was like, oh God! And then he got out and he says it's nothing. And that's what makes me so sad, is that Sheilin's like, oh, it's nothing. It's just a scratch, when his arm is like pouring down blood. It's like, Sheilin, your self-esteem, my dude, what are you doing? Stop. Please stop. And so then, yeah, then they managed to go back to the Heavenly Court. They just pop right in. I was wondering what they were going to do with Long Ying when he showed up. Like, you have this kid from the mortal realm in heaven with you. Just go hang out in the lobby. That's basically it. They're like, go hang out in the side room over there, okay? Can you do that? Is that possible? All right, great. Wonderful. And then the Windmaster, even though they have their best friend on their shoulders, they are not about to show up for an event without looking to the nines. And their poor hand is like the cut on it and everything. Oh my gosh. But they're just like, yes. Or that's the Earthmaster's hand who has the cut. Never mind. Never mind. But yeah, just has to show up decked out, right? If you've read or watched Modazushi, the fact that the Windmaster has to look impeccable all the time reminds me a little bit of Yao. A little bit of Yao in that series, because they always have to look the best. I get those vibes. Like, we came dressed to impress, my friends. So yeah, they came in there, and here's the thing. The Windmaster is like, hey, there's been a heavenly official injured. 2 heavenly officials. And you would think, in your mind, that in this heavenly court, that the moment you said there's 2 heavenly officials that are injured, 2 literal gods that are injured, that would be called for everybody to come to arms and come immediately to see what's going on. And the Windmaster says, 10,000 merits. This is urgent. And Sheilin's like, well, don't distribute merits. Like, speak nicely and everyone will come naturally. And it's like, oh, Sheilin, you sweet summer lamb. You sweet summer child. Sheilin's like, well, if you just ask nicely, they'll come and help us, right? And the Windmaster's like, oh, well, you've not been here very long or lately to know that the best way to get people to come is just to give them money. And then they'll especially come. They come much faster if you bribe them with money than if you just ask them. That immediately calls back to Hua Cheng, back at the manor, being like, wow, the heavenly officials, they're super greedy, aren't they? They are, because they come a-running the moment that they hear about money. What's interesting is that the first ones to show up are Feng Xin and Mu Qing, who used to be with Sheilin. And Feng Xin's immediately like, what's wrong with your hand? And Sheilin's like, oh, it's nothing. And Mu Qing's like, well, with so many in the court, who hasn't gotten injured? Like, I like Mu Qing makes the light. He's like, why did you give us merits? Like, Everybody gets injured. Like, what's the big deal? Meanwhile, Feng Shen is like, what about your arm? Like, total polar opposites. Mu Qing's like, is there a problem? I was taking a nap. And Feng Shen is like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, I love that he immediately comes to Sheilian's side. I was like, oh, Feng Shen. And Sheilian's like, oh, it's okay. Love that Feng Shen is immediately there. Love it. So meanwhile, Mu Qing is like, what's going on? Who's this injured person? And they're like, oh, it's the Earth Master. So we find out that the Earth Master is well known. Mu Qing does an interesting thing where they're like, flipping him over. I'm like, if you use this move in the bedroom by chance, Mu Qing, has this been a thing? But they levitate him there, and Mu Qing's like, interesting. I was wondering what it meant for the Wind Master to distribute merits. It was for the Earth Master. And they say that the Earth Master is like a phantom, never seen but always heard of, which would be very astute if they were Hua Cheng's subordinate, that they could just move in and out of the Ghost Realm and Heavenly Court and nobody would really care because they're pretty aloof anyway. So that seems to track and maybe be why Hua Cheng had them assist them. But they're like, why are they so heavily injured? I can't get over just Feng Shen's face where he's looking at Sheilian's arm like, oh my God, like the care on Feng Shen's face is so good. I'm like, oh, just so sweet, right? He's like, it's no big deal. It'll get better on its own. And Feng Shen's like, be more careful. Oh, breaks my heart. And so then Lan Zhanchu is just like over here being angsty and dark as all get out. And that's when he's like, excuse me, you are they call him the Imperial Preceptor, which they say Imperial Preceptor. In the novel, it's pronounced Goshi. So I'm just going with Goshi because Imperial Preceptor is a mouthful. And the moment he says that, Sheilian's like, oh shit. And you see this like hammer hitting this spike that I'm assuming is for the coffin that Lan Zhanchu was talking about, but we'll see. But yeah, Lan Zhanchu's like, I killed you and put you in a coffin and buried you. Well, apparently he got out, so I'm gonna be interested to see what we get with that. And everybody's kind of like, well, the Goshi of, why is the Prince of Shanla the Goshi for the Prince of Yong'an? Because Yong'an is, what caused Shanla's kingdom to fall. So why would he serve them? Like, what's up with that? And Sheilian's like, I don't want to talk about it. Sheilian's like, I don't want to know. I don't want you all to know. I don't want to talk about it, please. I like this one guy that's like, I'm getting more and more confused. I like the girl's face animated next to him. She's just like, really? Can you not follow along? It's hilarious. Well, then Ling Wen shows up. And I like that Ling Wen and Pei Ming show up. Can we? Two of the tumors. Ling Wen and Pei Ming showing up. Ling Wen's just like, I've got all the receipts. I've got all the facts. Hold on, let me get this out. Pei Ming is just such a gossipy bitch. Not a gossipy bitch, but he just shows up. He's that guy that like stands in the office on the side of the wall and like watches the fight go down so he can talk about it later when people ask what happened. He's just there to sip the tea. That's all Pei Ming wants to do, is sip the tea. But I swear, as this series goes on, he gets more and more ornate armor and he looks hotter and hotter. What are they doing? I swear Pei Ming gets more and more attractive as this series goes on. As outfits get more elaborate and ornate, I'm like, what is happening? But yes. And so they call it the Golden Feast. In the book, they call it the Gilded Banquet. So if I say Gilded Banquet and Golden Feast in future episodes, they mean the same thing. But basically, it's like the golden red wedding of Heaven Official's blessing. And so, yes, they say that the Goshi was the savior and mentor of Lan Zhanchu. And so, yeah, and they say that originally, the thing that's kind of twisted and messed up about this is they are suggesting that the Golden Banquet was originally something that happened during Sheilian's family's time. And then the family that conquered that family ended up adopting the ceremony. So you could argue, from an outside perspective, we don't know what went down exactly at the banquet, although Sheilin has said that they killed the family, but we don't know the full details yet. But you could imagine Sheilin, like, what would that feel like to know that a ritual that your family that was destroyed used to do is being appropriated by the people whose ancestors caused your family's downfall. Like, that's pretty disturbing, right? I mean, it would probably mess somebody up, right? But Sheilin, as we've seen throughout this series so far, has been pretty nonchalant about everything. So you're like, well, surely that wouldn't freak him out. But that's what it seems. And we see Lan Chuan standing there with his parents, right? And then we see that the Imperial killed all the members of the royal family present. And like the colors there, oh my god. And Ling Wen's like, only the belated Yong'an crown prince was able to escape. Which seems rather intentional, right? It seems like maybe Sheilin let him escape or something. We don't know for sure yet, but something's amiss. We don't know all the details. And Lan Chuan was like, did you lie to me? You said you couldn't see us in this position. He's like, I never doubted you. And he's like, what's going on? And then I like that the Windmaster tries to stand up for Sheilin. The Windmaster's like, well, we don't know. Like, are you blaming him for no reason? And then Pei Ming, who's been reading the lore, getting the tea, is like, well, actually, the state preceptor never, he wore a mask and nobody really knew what their face looked like. And I'm like, Pei Ming, you just came to just spread the tea when necessary, right? And I also like that the Windmaster gets on to Pei Ming and is like, well, you don't know all the details, so you weren't there, so just leave Sheilin alone. I love it because, as the Windmaster says, they don't really care for Pei Ming because Pei Ming's like, he is not happy that Pei Ming's friends with his brother. So I just like that. What I like about it is that it's not one of those animosities that is, you know, like cartoonish or outlandish. The Windmaster's kind of dislike of Pei Ming is very similar to a sibling's dislike when you don't like your sibling's friends. You're just like, well, actually, but you're not like outright. The Windmaster's never outright mean or aggressive. They're just very easy to disagree with. And then, so all these people are suggesting that, like, you know, Sheilin would have reason to want to kill Lan Chuan's family as an act of revenge. But we all know Sheilin and an act of revenge seems a bit far-fetched. So there has to be more to the story, right? And Sheilin's face during all this is like, I don't want to talk about this. Sheilin has the most, I really don't want to be here right now face. Why did I come back? Why am I not at Paradise Manor in the lap of my Gege? What is happening? Why am I still here? Why did I make this decision? Like, that's all that is reading on his face. And then Sky Daddy shows up. Jun Woo shows up and everybody's like, Your Majesty. And he's like, yes, I was getting a facial. What's going on? And I just love how they're like, oh, they're fine. Like, looks at the Windmaster like, nothing serious. Bye-bye. Shoots him away. But then he's like, oh my god, Shanla. You're hurt. Like, the Earthmaster's like barely clinging to life. And Junwoo's like, put a band-aid on it. It's fine. Oh my god, Sheilin, you're bleeding. Let me lick it. That was so unintentionally funny. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, he heals Sheilin instantly. And then just like looks over at Sheilin like, oh, what's going on? What's happened? And so then he just goes up there and sits on his throne and is like, you know, are you telling the truth? What's going on? What's happening? And then that's when Lan Chuan says, I know that Sheilin is the Goshi because he saved the same way he saved me from the bandits back then. And I got him to be my mentor and to teach me the same way. That's how he fought against me and Hua Cheng back then. He's like, I know those moves. What's interesting is that Mu Qing kind of steps up. And Mu Qing's like, well, other than you, no one else saw any of this. So how do we know you're telling the truth? It's very interesting because Mu Qing kind of stands up for Sheilin in that moment in a very roundabout way. But then, of course, Sheilin, I love like the shot through the sword with Sheilin, and you can see how guilty he looks. His face looks so guilty there. He's like, ugh. And Sheilin doesn't lie. He's like, because Lan Chuan wants to challenge him to a duel. He wants to challenge him to a duel. And I'm like, Lan Chuan, you have a death wish, sir. Because you're challenging Hua Cheng to a duel, even though we know Hua Cheng could kill you. You're challenging Sheilin to a duel. Sheilin's a martial god. He could probably kill you too, right? Even if he has a cursed shackle on. Like, come on. And that's when Sheilin says, I vowed many years ago to never kill with a sword again. That again line would suggest that he killed Lan Chanchu's family. And Lan Chanchu is like horrified, upset, doesn't get like that's so insulting to him. And then of course we get that shot of Sheilin, oh my god, with like the back of his hair tie there looks like a butterfly. What? That's so weird. Or maybe it's a lotus blossom. But his mask kind of looks like a butterfly too. And then we see him with his hair down and the big blue robes. Oh, it's beautiful. But then, yeah, Lan Chanchu, he's just so mad. And Hua Cheng's like, are you what they say? Were you the Goshi? Do you acknowledge that you killed his family? And Shilian's like, I did. And Function and Muqing and the Windmaster are like, what? Like, our sweet summer child, Cinnamon Bun Sheilin is a murderer? What? No! But Sheilin says he was. And then Junwoo, that look on Junwoo's face where he's like, he's like, the one who bloodied the Golden Feast, is it really you? And Sheilin is like, yeah. He's like, it was, that's right. It's me. Now, the way that he does that, it's me, and his hair like rises up like in this moment of like determination, one has to suspect, you know, is he saying that was him to take the blame for someone else? Or was it him? It's either one of the two things. He's either taking the blame for someone else, or he's either taking the blame for someone else, or he did actually do all those things and he's owning up to it. Either way, I mean, well, one way Sheilin is taking the blame for someone else's actions, which is not cool. But the other way is if it was him and he's owning up to his sins and being like, yeah, it was a long time ago. I did it. Now what? Okay. All right. But yeah, oh my God. I can't believe how short this episode was. I need December 6th to get here quite quickly. That's when the next episode is supposed to be, is December 6th. Yes. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I'll have to watch it that Wednesday, and it will come out the following Monday on Patreon and the Monday after that on YouTube, just because that's how my channel works. So if you want to see that episode December 11th, just join Patreon for the month of December. Have fun time with us. Join the Discord. We'll be talking about it. It'll be a great time. And if not, it'll be out on YouTube. So understandable. But yes. I'm really excited, y'all, to see what happens next. I've got a lot of spoilers I want to talk about, so if you're going to stick around for the spoiler corner, oh fellow novel readers, please do. Or if you just don't care about spoilers, you want to stick around for spoilers, fine. But if you're not sticking around for those, I really hope you enjoyed this reaction and discussion. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yes, I will be back very soon with more Heaven Officials Blessing. I'm going to imitate Sheilin's little face of... Holy cow. As I will probably say the rest of this season, it's really hard. For me. To not talk spoilers during the reaction or the discussion. I know how y'all feel now. I know how you feel. I'm feeling what you feel. So we're all going to be in the same boat with this damn Donghua together. This episode was pretty hard not to talk spoilers. And in the discussion, I had to make sure I kept saying Earthmaster, Earthmaster, Earthmaster. Earthmaster, Junwoo, Junwoo, Junwoo. Oh my God. Where do we start? Okay, so spoiler-wise, Long Ying is such a curious bit in this, right? Because Long Ying, I feel like now that we know that Long Ying has been possessed by Hua Cheng, I've got a theory about that. I'm going to pause it here when we get back to the Heavenly Court. But Long Ying, it's like we know he's going to eventually be possessed by Junwoo or be taken over by Junwoo because he's a ghost. So, and we know now that ghosts can go in and out of the Heavenly Realm because also, as I'm recording this, I have only read up to chapters 215. So just keep that in mind. I've only read up to chapters 215 as I'm recording this. But I do think it's interesting that, you know, the ghosts can go in and out of the Heavenly Realm. So that was not a big issue either. My theory is, I'll go ahead and talk about it. We know now that Hua Cheng has possibly been imitating or has either been imitating Junwoo for a long time or is Junwoo and has always been Junwoo, whatever. but has been doing so for a very, very long time, possibly since the beginning of this story. Maybe not the whole story, but this story specifically, Heaven Official's Blessing. So I wondered if there's a possibility that Bai Wusheng can splinter itself. They talked about the whole soul split thing, that it's like, it seems like Anime Annie was describing it, felt like a Horcrux thing from Harry Potter, right? So I'm wondering if Bai Wusheng, now watching this episode, has the ability to split itself into multiple parts, and like one part has been Junwoo or became Junwoo or possessed Junwoo, whatever. One part was the Bai Wusheng that we saw in the forest during Shanla, the night that Sheilin first met them. Another part could be the one that possessed Long Ying. And I'm wondering if when Long Ying was up in the heavenly court, off to the side in the hall, because Junwoo brings Long Ying back to Sheilin, brings them back and tells him where he is. Hell, if Junwoo could have gone to Long Ying, split off part of itself as Bai Wusheng, and implanted it into Long Ying, which is a very gross thought. No. And that's where this all went to from here. So I'm wondering if maybe that was a possibility, if that's what happened. And it all started with Long Ying slowly becoming Bai Wusheng during this episode and the events of this volume 2. If so, that's been a long time coming. But I was just thinking about that during the reaction. I was like, huh, interesting. Oh my God, all of the foreshadowing and all of that with, oh my God, with Hua Cheng in this episode. Can we talk about that? Yes. Also, it was dawning on me that on the little tips of the leaves of the red flower that kind of bursts apart in the OP, the tips of the leaves are tinted red with blood, like the crimson rain sought flower. You know, no big deal. It's fine. But anyway, so yeah, so Long Ying, and also Long Ying immediately like clinging to Sheilin. I know he's not necessarily Bai Wusheng right now, but it's just very interesting that he's clinging to Sheilin like Bai Wusheng would like to. And so then we have Hua Cheng, who's like, come on, Gege, explain. What I like about this is that in hindsight, we know that Hua Cheng was just asking Sheilin his opinion and to explain. We know now that Hua Cheng was not going to get mad at Sheilin or anything like that. Although, it also makes sense now that Hua Cheng was trying to protect Sheilin, being like, do not get around these crazy people because... And here's the thing. Now we know that it's Heshan on the back as the Earth Master. And what's so interesting is that Hua Cheng was trying to tell Sheilin, look, you don't have any part in this business. Back off, because Heshan has business with the Wind Master, and Hua Cheng is like, we don't need to get involved in that, right? The thing that is so amazing is like, Sheilin's like, I don't know what misunderstanding you have with the Earth Master, but let's stay calm and talk it out. And when Hua Cheng's like, the Earth Master? Who are you calling the Earth Master? Because it's not the Earth Master. He's like, who's the Earth Master? He's like, oh, you mean the one the Wind Master's carrying on his back. The whole time Hua Cheng's like, that's not the Earth Master. Because it wasn't. It was Heshan the entire time. I'm like, oh my God. Oh. And then he's like, oh, well, just one of my incompetent subordinates. And Sheilin's like, huh? What's so amazing about this is that Heshan being called one of Hua Cheng's subordinates is hilarious because they're both literally supreme ghosts. But Hua Cheng's like, look, I told you not to get involved with Magege. What are you doing? And so Hua Cheng was trying to figure out, like, why were you... And the thing about it is, I don't think that Heshan realized that Junwoo was Bai Wusheng back when they ordered them to go spy on Hua Cheng. I don't think they knew that. I think they were just doing it because they didn't want to get caught by Junwoo, and they were like, shit, and they were kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, but they don't want to say anything because that's why he's like, I have no comment. I have nothing to say to you. I was just doing what I was told to keep my cover from getting blown. I'm sorry. I spied on your Gege. Sorry, Hua Cheng. I was just doing what I was told so I wouldn't get caught. Please let me go now. You know, that's kind of what it seems to be like, right? And then Hua Cheng's just like, That whole thing with the sword, hilarious. I love that part so much. But yeah, so that's when Hua Cheng's like, you shouldn't get involved. Yeah, Lan Chanchu comes down. And he's like, I hate the Windmaster says I want to play the part of the villain. And the thing about it is, that the Windmaster technically in Heshan's eyes is playing the part of the villain because they took the role that was supposed to be his. And it's like, ah! And then Hua Cheng saying, what a coincidence. I have a fan too. I'm like, Hua Cheng's like, mine's more majestic and prettier. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, so anyway, the part where the mansion gets lit on fire, let's cut to that. Although Hua Cheng laughing, give me that all day. Please and thank you. I'll take every second of it. Give me more Hua Cheng laughing. I need it. The thing that sucks is that when the mansion catches on fire and Sheilin looks so sad about it, you know, he's sitting there and he's got his injured hand and everything. When we see Hua Cheng's face in the flames, it's so sad. Like when he looks up to Gege, when he looks up to him through the fire of the mansion, it's not that he's mad about the mansion catching on fire. It's one, he's mad that Sheilin is going off with these people that he's like, you can't trust them. They're going to do something bad. And two, it's the fact that he knows in Sheilin deflecting that attack that he caused Sheilin to get injured. And he's like, shit, I caused Sheilin to get hurt. That's the last thing that Hua Cheng would ever want to do. He would never want to hurt Sheilin. And what's so horrifying is that you have this giant temple burning, Paradise Manor burning, and that is such a callback to book 4, where you have the temple where Sheilin is reborn after getting stabbed 100 times. You have that, you know, temple burning on fire and blowing up, and it's just a revisitation of that. It's like these two boys, these two beautiful men in love with each other, hurt each other in this moment, and it's so freaking sad. I'm like, I hate it. And you can tell Sheilin just feels bad about it. So yeah, he gets his hand hurt, launch on shoes like a freaking zombie, not happy about any of this. And then they go back to the Heavenly Realm. But yeah, Sheilin tells Long Ying, just go there and wait for me. Who knows if creepy Junwoo will come and possess you or put part of his soul into you. No worries though. So we go to the Heavenly Realm and we get the whole thing about, you know, the Windmaster using the merits to call people. We talked about that in the discussion. Oh my God, seeing that it is Feng Xin and Mu Qing showing up first to see Sheilin. Like, merits be damned. They were going to show up anyway. Although Mu Qing's not going to say no to the merits, I'm sure. But Feng Xin! Feng Xin, like, just the care in his eyes looking over Sheilin's wounds. Like, the idea, if we think back to book 4 when they were struggling out in the woods and busking and trying to do everything together. And the idea that Feng Xin would not want Sheilin to be hurt. And he knows that Sheilin is so self-sacrificial and he just will hurt himself no matter what. It's so damn sad. It's just like the way they drew Feng Xin in this episode, it was breaking my heart. I was like, no, why would you do that? And then, of course, Mu Qing, like, you know, Mu Qing, he's like, who hasn't gotten injured during the patrols? Mu Qing tries to play it off, like, no big deal, whatever. And Feng Xin's over here, like, rubbing the salve onto his wound as we speak, right? Just two totally different approaches with it, right? Instead, he wants to look over the Earthmaster. And we have this whole deal about Yongin and everything, blah, blah, blah. And that's when Lan Chanchu gets mad and Ling Wen shows up with the receipts. But, oh my gosh, y'all, I cannot tell you how hard it was for me to hold it in when Junwoo showed up. Because so much of this part right here, knowing now that this whole time Junwoo's there, has been 99.9% sure has been by Wu Sheng. Re-examining it with that lens is insanity. Because he just shows up, looks at the Earthmaster and goes, it's nothing. Like, because he knows it's Heshan. Like, Bai Wusheng knows it's Heshan. He's like, oh, he's a ghost. He's fine. He's just faking it. And I was like, oh my God. And then he looks over to Sheilin and is like, oh. He's like, oh, Shanla, you're hurt. There is something so twisted in the way he's like, oh, and like puts his arm on Sheilin and like heals it. It was reminding me of when Bai Wusheng was like, I took your parents to the mausoleum and I made them a burial ground. It'll be okay, Sheilin. Oh, that just the way that he looks at Sheilin's arm. Oh my God. And then heals it and Sheilin's like, oh, okay. And the way that he's just always by Sheilin's side there behind him. Like Bai Wusheng. Ah! Creepy as hell. And then the thing about it is, the thing that I guess with the novel at this point of where I'm at in the novel that's so weird is that Junwoo is up there with the damn wolf on a wolf in sheep's clothing. His outfit is literally a wolf in sheep's clothing. He has the wolf on his shoulder and the red thing. Oh my god, his outfit is symbolizing a wolf in sheep's clothing. Oh my god. Ah! A wolf in emperor's clothes. But anyway, what's so weird, and I'm only, again, at chapter 215, so it's not been confirmed that Junwoo and Bai Wuxiang are the same being, but it's been basically hinted at heavily, is he was, Junwoo was the emperor of the heavenly realm. Why even pose as Bai Wuxiang? What's the point of that? You're the emperor of the heavenly court in the heavenly realm. Why do you care about Mount Tonglu? Why do you care about, anything going on? Why would you even need to become Bai Wuxiang? You have the most power. What's the point of it? Why would you potentially out yourself as Bai Wuxiang when they went to Mount Tonglu? What's in it for you? And again, we don't know everything in the story, so in a couple weeks when we come back, maybe I'll know more and we can talk about in the spoiler corner for this. But yeah, so then Lan Chanchu breaks the news that, he's Feng Shen, Sheilin is, and we get that whole scene. I do think it's interesting. Sheilin shows up in the one mask to hide his face. When he looks over, like he has like the demon mask on his face, which is great. And then he wears a mask as the Goshi. And it's so sad seeing Lan Chanchu be so young and like so full of light and then get it all shattered by Sheilin confirming that he supposedly was the Goshi. We got a little hint of the coffin. That's the one piece of the whole Gilded Banquet thing that's not been explained, is like how Sheilin got out of that coffin, what ended up happening. Hope we get more on that. We'll see. I do think it's interesting that Muqing kind of defended Sheilin in this moment against Lan Chanchu, but it's like, to what purpose? Like, why? That seems almost out of character for him. But then Sheilin admits, he's like, I did it. It was me. I'm already on my second watching. I already love Pei Ming, and seeing him just be the most gossipy gossip, let's see the tea, let's taste the tea. I'm loving Pei Ming the second time around. I know people that watch season 1 of the Dongma are going to be like, why is she so into Pei Ming? Because you don't know. It's coming. But yeah, Lan Chanchu asks Sheilin to be in a duel, and Sheilin says, I vowed many years ago to never kill with a sword again. Now, the dad of Yongin, is he the reason why he made the vow? I'm assuming, because that's the last time Sheilin, that was 300 years ago, was the last time Sheilin probably killed with a sword, so he vowed not to do it again. I feel like that's the case. I think that's what the novel had going on. I do like the design of the Goshi Feng Shen, but the butterfly mask and the butterfly hairpiece is very Hua Cheng-esque. But as far as we know, Hua Cheng was not at the Gilded Banquet. So either Sheilin was having like the most random, coincidental, subliminal messaging in his outfit design, or Yongin just had a butterfly fest, like a butterfly motif for a while. They went through a butterfly phase, basically. What's interesting is that the Windmaster defends Sheilin and tries to get the duel to not happen. The way that Junwoo is animated in this last moment, Junwoo is like looking at Sheilin being like, is it true what Lan Chanchu said? And Sheilin's like, yes. And his friends are like, they're all shooketh, like, like, Sheilin killed a guy. What? They seem so shocked. And Junwoo looks very like kind of disappointed, being like, so did you actually do this? I feel like Junwoo knows the answer. He's like, you didn't actually do this. So why are you admitting it? Why are you confessing? Come on now. And Sheilin says it was him. Can't believe we have to wait 2 weeks. How dare. And the funny thing is, we're going to wait 2 weeks, and then Sheilin's going to get banished to his room, and Hua Cheng's going to instantly rescue him. It's going to be great. But you know what? 2 weeks will be worth it. Do you know why? Because that means in December, for Christmas, Romania Black is going to get the best dumpster fire Christmas gift of all. And that is the arrival of our Green Lantern. Qirong. Yes! Yes! That means Qirong is on his way. I'm so freaking excited. I can't wait. It'll be the best Christmas ever. Qirong gracing his presence with his nagging, and I want his voice actor to just have the best hammy time with it. I cannot wait. I need this in my life. I cannot tell you how much I need Qirong. Need him in my life. So yes, what an episode. The whole business with Junwoo, I was just like, cannot compute. Oh my God. Ah. And so I'm sure people that are Dongma only are like, calm down. What are you all up about? Sky Daddy. Am I right? So yes. I'm really excited. I can't believe that we have to wait 2 weeks, but it's okay. So yes, there will be a 2-week hiatus. We'll still have the novels on Monday to tide us over until the Donghua returns. But I hope that you enjoyed this reaction discussion. This was a lot of fun. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'm back very soon with more Heaven Officials Blessing.